into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Pod Damn America, a podcast that's very long sometimes. Not today, though. Hello, I'm Jake. See what I did there with the A's? I'm Jake, the podcast with 8 A's, like the Randy character. I'm Jake Flores.
I love that.
Alex Patak is here.
Hey, I'm Alex. I'm Jake and Anders' friend. Welcome back.
Anders Lee is here.
Anders Lee here.
Nice. And Clark Jones, welcome to the show.
What's happening? What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Not much.
Here.
Thanks for...
Fresh off homecoming.
Are you back in New York?
No, I'm talking about the DNC.
Oh.
It's like homecoming.
It is
The
like
coronation.
homecoming. The DNC, we'll talk about that shit a little bit later. It's on my notes for today. It's pretty stupid. It's in the news, and it does not require much research to talk about. Pretty much passively watch it and just lose your mind. I'm going to do an episode today, or we're going to do an episode pretty casual, comedian style. We just riff on the news because I'm tired, because we just did a long series where I had to do a lot of research and make a lot of notes. And most people emailed me and told me that they, really like those episodes and they appreciate my hard work. I had one email from someone, though, that said that they hate them and they prefer when we just fuck around. So this episode's for you, big guy. I am not trying at all today.
Hey, Jake, send in more comedian-style episodes.
Yo, man, I'll take it. If that's what you want, if that's what you people want, ask
Stop
no more.
reading.
Yeah.
Rely on your natural intellect to just kind of know stuff.
Yeah.
Set your destination to Rift City, folks.
Fantastic. Watch this be like our saddest episode we've
That'd be
ever
fucking
recorded.
weird. I don't know where this episode's
Well,
going.
Fucking introduction.
They basically asked for Twitter as a podcast. I was like,
Yeah.
We're doing
It's
this
just like-
for one person, just dumbing down as much as we possibly can for one patron.
But I
Hope
mean,
he's satisfied.
it's not as though this is a thing we've never done before or don't do all the time, I am kind of joking. I mean, this is just half the show. Half the show's comedy.
No, I made
shit.
it a point to not take in any news or information over the past week. I have no idea what's happening. I've been in a sensory deprivation tank. I have no contact with the outside world, so this is going to be pure off the dome reaction.
Yeah. Like weird minimalist comedy, like an anti-podcast where you are commenting on nothing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the Seinfeld of, yeah.
I know you guys can't see Anders today, but he is shrouded in shadow. There is no visible
Yeah.
part of him
It's
at
because of my
all.
hat. You see, if I
I only
take off
need
the hat...
conspiracy theories from you.
Yeah.
Tell me where Nixon's men crossed the line and get the fuck out.
Anders,
The
for the
DNC
listener,
was
is
actually on the moon. The DNC was held in the moon's chambers.
God damn it.
which is
Oh, they
I
flat.
didn't trust this guy.
The flat moon, by the way. For the listener, so we're doing this in like a Zoom chat, and Anders is wearing like a bucket hat, like Fred Durst, but he's lit from the back, so he's just a silhouette. So he looks like someone on like a true crime show that's like, and then
I have information about the DNC.
Well, see, the great thing about this hat, it can be a bucket hat. It can be a Gilligan hat. If I flip it this
Alright.
way, it can be a detective hat. It can be a cowboy hat. It's an amazing.
You guys got to really see this hat.
I don't think it
I,
can
Give it up
I
for
posted
diversity.
photos of it, but my girlfriend is going to break up with me if I don't stop wearing it soon.
Yeah.
She's like furious at me
Ladies
for
hate
buying
when
this
men
hat.
empower themselves with a good hat.
It's true.
Well, that's the thing. This thing is my retirement fund because as you guys can see, it has the temporary Washington football team logo because this season they don't got a name. So
Andrews is now gesturing to his hat, which we cannot see because he is a shadow.
it
Wait.
says WAS on the front in the colors. And I bought this.
Something.
Yeah.
Wet ass stickler.
Stussy.
All of their
Ass sports.
yeah, they probably didn't realize that Wet Ass Pussy was coming out, so inadvertently they just have 1 year of merch that all looks very much like it says Wet Ass Pussy on it.
Right. That's another reason I have. Yeah, this stuff is just going to appreciate in value. It's going to be so. This is so 2020. I bought a mask, a COVID mask, which I'm not going to use because that's going to be the most 2020 shit in like 50 years. Going to be like,
Okay.
People used to wear these masks all the time, and you had an NFL team that didn't have a name. It just says Washington Football Team. That's going to be worth. That's going to be so much.
How much do you want for it? I'll give you anything you want. I have to have this relic of history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. No, I think you're onto something. You should collect as much of that merch as possible because it's weird.
I've already spent over $100. But like I said, it's going to come back in spades.
It's an investment.
It's going to come back in spades. It's coming back. I was also thinking that you don't look like Deep Throat so much as you do in Gangland when they have someone who is not allowed to talk about the gang anymore on TV.
I just have voice modulation.
I don't want to say it was Suge Knight, but it was Suge Knight.
You say Suge Knight?
Shug.
You said it with a...
Sometimes the blur out is really terrible on those gangland shows. Like if somebody readjusts, you can see their face clearly.
Yeah.
Like if they go, yeah, and then,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, I should have said that. I
Get a drink of water on accident. Yeah.
I definitely shouldn't have said my last name is LaPaglio.
Yeah, we don't have time to shoot this interview twice, so we are going to air that. But
You're probably going to die anyway, so just keep it going. Leave it in.
What would be awesome is if they got someone who is involved in organized crime, someone who is in the CIA, and someone who used to work for the Ellen Show, and they gave them a podcast, and they all had the voice modulation shit. So they're all like, "I wonder, Ellen came in and just decapitated someone."
Go ahead and subscribe to that Patreon.
Yeah.
I was married to Portia de Rossi for several years.
She made me.
Under that, if it's an Ellen employee, that would be hilarious. Oh no, I'm not Ellen. I'm an employee. Do you not do air quotes? Sure.
Yeah.
You sure are doing a funny dance in this anonymous interview. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wet ass CIA agent.
Yeah. Yeah, a WAP agent.
You know what is one take I have not seen on the internet in the last 2 weeks is that the wet ass pussy video was a CIA operation.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
That theory.
Well,
I am
people have.
following a combination of accounts where that output should have been given from this input.
Well, people have speculated that it was planned to coincide with Kamala being chosen as the vice presidential nominee because they have that image that came out the day after she was picked. That was, I think, Biden was Cardi B. They photoshopped his face in there, and then Kamala was Meg Thee Stallion, and it was just a very disturbing photo.
Yeah, it was a deep fake. That wasn't real, by the way. It was a deep fake. They just want you to
really?
think that Biden has
real.
huge cans.
That worked on Anders.
What if he had big ass titties under that big top?
I think his numbers would go up significantly, like 3 points. Not like enough.
Like Trump would retweet him for sure.
Yeah.
Come on, these, man.
Look at these
Got
jokes.
Got those bets.
You know what I'm still waiting for, though, is, and I'm very curious, no one knows what's going to happen with Trump giving Kamala a nickname, because I don't think he's done that yet. What do you guys think it's going to be?
Crazy Kamala.
Crazy? Okay.
We call it
Crazy.
No.
Crazy with a K. And he's like, one is missing. No. The KKK.
These-
Did y'all see him basically saying Like he don't know Bannon. I'm sorry to switch,
No, go
but that
ahead.
was
Go ahead.
so fucking funny.
What did he? I missed this.
This was what. All right, so I had as a joke, I was just like, watch, because he got arrested the night before, and the next morning I'm like, watch Trump act like he never met Bannon. And then in the interview, he's basically like, I don't know those three guys. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what's going on. I've never met any of those people who are clearly under arrest.
They sound like bad dudes.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. Whatever that is.
His shamefulness is really like the most admirable thing about him.
It's the commitment to it. And it's like, I think even as comedians, we're just like trained to like a commitment to a bit. And like him acting like he don't know Steve Bannon is just so fucking funny.
Yeah. You can tell sometimes that he's kind of, he knows he's fucking with people and he cracks a little bit. And then you know he's a real performer for sure. Like he's been on camera a lot.
They always fuck up because they'll have them, but then they like journalists talk too much. So like they'll have them in a question, but then they'll add something to the question, and then he'll just reply to the part that was unnecessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you work with Steve Bannon, and even he's a close associate. He's not a close associate. He's not. He's like, no. What's the other part, the main part of the question, the meat? Like, no. You said too much.
Yeah, he answers.
You have to heighten the scene. Escalate.
Yeah, he's great at just being in the moment and just being so confident that he doesn't know stuff that he's talked about in length, like with David Duke. Like he's talked about David Duke like in 2000 because he was involved in the Reform Party, and then in 2016, and he's like, I don't know anything about David Duke. I've never heard those words together, never pronounced them.
I like to talk about the Duke of Earl, who's a better Duke. He's the best Duke.
True. I think Bannon's not getting enough credit for having not cut his hair during all of quarantine. That's
right.
Nice.
Responsible choice.
What does he look like right now? I haven't seen this man.
Like he hates skincare regimens. like he has a personal problem with washing his face.
He's been doing racism to his own face. And that's what it looks like.
Remember, like a couple of years ago,
down.
when Twitter, everyone was just doing Steve Bannon looks like this, Steve Bannon looks like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
The funniest one I think I ever saw was that Steve Bannon looks like the guy in a zombie movie who's trying to hide the fact that he got bit like a day ago. He's just like a little bit more dead. Him and Bolsonaro have that thing where they look just half dead, but they're like reanimated somehow. I don't know. But no, he has long, glorious, like silver hair. He looks like Jay Mascis or something.
I mean, he's got to catch COVID now. I bet that's going to happen, especially now that he's going to jail.
Well, he was social distancing though. He was on a yacht. He was not cutting his hair, and he was on a yacht, and he was saving his money.
Not building a wall.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys think? Do you think Trump has had COVID and just like kept it under the radar?
Sure. I mean, when your driver gets COVID, then
I mean, he might have the the Three Stooges syndrome from The Simpsons when Mr. Burns goes to the Mayo Clinic and they're like, you have 10 diseases, and they're all just like stuck in a door and they can't actually like affect your abilities. I think that could be going on with Trump. So COVID could be one of them, along with his many venereal diseases.
I mean, all the venereal diseases for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump's got like syphilis, like he's a cowboy from the turn of the century.
He got whatever killed the gangster. What did
Al Capone?
Al Capone have?
Tax fraud.
I think it was syphilis.
Taxes. He has that too. He's been not paying his taxes just like Capone.
Yeah. Syphilis is like...
I think that's what it is. I think he just hasn't paid. Everybody's like, oh, we want to see your taxes. There are no taxes. He did not pay any.
Yeah, because he's a corporation. He is a human.
This has not...
He is the American legal ideal, a human corporation, and we don't make them pay taxes.
Yeah,
So, like everybody else, he doesn't pay him.
Right. There's nothing there's nothing there. There's just like NA as far as the Texas for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's my conspiracy theory.
Sure. Clark,
Sure.
what have you been up to, man? I've been checking out your new podcast, Classic Black Dude. It's cool, man.
Thanks, man. It's there's this Pusha T lyric that was he says, who else could put the hipsters with felons and thugs and paint a perfect picture of what selling it does? And that's what really started my podcast. It was just like people from these different walks of life that I have that you don't normally see. So like I had a gospel rapper, Reverend DeShazier. He came on one week, and the next week we had Curtis Wall Street Carroll, who does like TED Talks from prison. So it's just like these outer reaches of people looking at perspectives and things that's going on.
And you run this with Pusha T?
No. I stole an idea from Pusha T.
Yeah.
Based on his lyrics.
No.
I would love to have Pusha T and Jake on an episode and just see comments.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna find something for this episode over.
There might be something.
So yeah.
I bet we like the same video
Have you
games or
ever
something.
eaten your own cum?
Yeah. You know how to get drunk off an orange, like my man Curtis Carroll. It's great. Yeah, it's just like it, but it's mostly black dudes, and it centers around just like most of the guys on there are from I'm a '90s kid, so like we kind of coming from that perspective too, the classic perspective.
Yeah, cool.
Who's your favorite group or artist growing up?
Still Outkast, still great. Tribe. Foo Fighters.
Okay.
Foo Fighters, huh?
They were good back in the day.
Anybody who charted in 1997, I pretty much am a fan.
I'm from the South, so Outkast is pretty big.
Yeah, Outkast is. I mean, that's about as classic as it gets. Cast and like I like most groups, white artists that my white friends hate. So, like, I really got into John Mayer when y'all stopped. Like, I really got into like Nickelback when y'all stopped.
Really?
And it's just like, yeah, whenever y'all start to hate a musical artist, that's when I really dig into it. I got a whole 5-minute chunk on Creed on my album. Just because. Yeah.
Creed is underrated. I'll say it.
They got hits.
That is actually amazing because that's a very white thing to when a white band starts to like go on the decline, you disown it as a way of showing that you're not that white. So for you to take it on, it must be so amazing to watch a white dude's like head scrambling to be like, oh wait, no, I actually do like them.
I mean, they had a. I mean, they. I mean. Okay. I mean,
Wait. Is that why you do it? Because I've known a lot of. I've gotten into music conversations with like black people and stuff growing up, where like this will happen, and I'll get a guy who's like, oh yeah, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'll be like, I can tell that you're trying to connect with me over this thing, not knowing that I actually think it sucks. And then I'm like, wait a minute, are you fucking with me on purpose? Because that's very funny if you're doing it, but also you probably don't know, fucking really obscure punk music and shit that I listen to or whatever, you know?
They wear socks on their penises in public.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
I would say from the optimist side, yes, I will big up Sixpence None the Richer and like bands like that. But I'll never hate a band that white people like. I just will love the band that white people collectively have started to hate.
Right, when they're done with after Spider-Man 2 soundtrack, then we pick up Nickelback.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can be your Superman. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's so.
I remember hearing when Chester Bennington died that there was actually a big following for Lincoln Park among the African American community. Some, I mean, obviously not all.
I knew that one.
But,
I was on top of this one.
Yeah, that was surprising to me.
When they did the mashup album with Jay-Z,
yeah.
I started to like them less because it's like this is just a little too on the nose. Like you're just gonna, so like I liked Crawling. Like these are good songs. You ain't gotta have Jay-Z. It did more for Jay, I think, than it did for Linkin Park.
It was definitely like a business move on his part. It seemed. Yeah.
Oh, this is your favorite producer, Mike Shinoda? Like now, just come on, like stop it. You're from Marcy.
I gotta let Mike Shinoda rap on my song. He's so gifted.
Yeah.
This needs Shinoda. Kanye.
But you know what it is Linkin Park is like the closest a band can be to an anime. And anime is such a hit with like all these like young black kids that is like, yeah, logically Linkin Park is part of this for me.
I thought you meant visually. Like you showed a Linkin Park video to black people and they're like, that's anime, right?
Well, yeah, because they all have like Chester Bennington early on had like Liberty spikes, like bleached, huge, chunky spikes. So he did look like a Saiyan, or a Super Saiyan rather. Mm-hmm. And then
the music videos, man, the early ones are like they're on like a holographic pyramid and like singing to a sphinx, and the sphinx comes alive.
The Trump campaign. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, which backwards in group do you prefer, Linkin Park or Nine Inch Nails?
Well, it's third answer. Trick question. Korn also. No, I'm sorry. That's a backward R. Backward R.
Backwards
sorry.
R.
I got it wrong.
Completely different genre.
What do you know? You don't know white music.
I mean, I appreciate Nine Inch Nails as the better band just from like a music theory perspective, but I was a
Anders
fan
elitism showing its ugly face
but
back on the podcast.
Lincoln. I never was really that into Nine Inch Nails. I was more of a Linkin Park kid.
Okay. I knew just one Nine Inch Nails song coming up, and that was the 30 seconds they played of Fuck You Like an Animal.
Honestly, I heard the Johnny Cash cover of Hurt before I really started listening to Nine Inch Nails. That was my first exposure to them, was through Johnny Cash.
I was sure you were going to say a Johnny Cash cover of a Linkin Park song.
I want to run away.
Everything you say to me takes me one step closer to the edge.
And I'm about to... You know how we would talk
he gets
in
so
the later
low on
years?
the break, too. He is a break.
Now, I'm curious about this because obviously it's different with every person, like any other, group of people. But when you hear sort of like emo, kids from the suburbs, like kind of whiny stuff, talking about how depressed they are, is that like funny to you? Because I just remember doing an open mic a few years ago, and there's only one black comedian there, and after the comedy, the host was like, I'm gonna play an acoustic set now, and he got a guitar out and started singing this song about anxiety. And I just remember looking over at I'm not gonna name his name, but I looked over at the black comedian.
It was Dave Chappelle.
He was trying really hard not to just completely bust out laughing.
It was Patrice, and the acoustic guitar was Dimitri Martin.
The scene was so big back then, man.
But it was like a serious song about having anxiety, which is, a shitty thing.
At an open mic?
Yeah.
You got to work that out.
That is,
you got to bring that to an open mic.
No, you're allowed to make fun of someone at an open mic for doing some shit like that. Because it's not a comedy set.
Yeah, but he found it, I think, funnier than everyone else. And I don't know if that could have been for any number of reasons, but I'm curious if there's you listen to like suburban kids complaining about, homework and girls not liking them. And I mean, obviously that's part of hip hop too, but like
it would be hypocritical for me to be like, and then put on the Kid Cudi record. Sorry.
Nightmares are scary.
Here's Kid Cudi with Suicide. I'll take 3. Like, every song. And I mean, he's a good looking dude. Yes, he's from Cleveland, but like, looking at him off the eye test, you're like, what are you suicidal about? You know what I mean? But I love Cudi, so I can't make fun of anybody of any race who's like, yo, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I was so jealous when Kid Cudi got to replace Reggie Watts on Comedy Bang Bang for a season.
Oh, did he? I never even...
A guy who was like more famous than the entire show is just like, yeah, I'll just be the funny background guy, I guess.
I love it because I'm like, I respect, but like other people make music besides Reggie Watts. It was just like every show was like, it was like Key and Peele and Comedy Bang Bang. And like every show was like, well, there's only one black person who can make music.
It was weird,
Watts.
right? It
was a run.
The same thought, but it's a little bit kind of. I'm not gonna say it, but
right. It was just like, all right, we get it, and yeah, there's a lot of musicians though.
How many cocaine nails do you need? You need all of these jobs?
How many acapella layers do you have to have before you're like, all right, this is enough? You know what I mean? Okay, like for Friends, cool. Like Eric Andre, Key and Peele, I get it, but it was just 2009 through 2013 was like the Reggie Watts show.
Yeah, for sure. I
know y'all don't want to agree. I know y'all scared to say it, but y'all know it's true.
No.
Every intro to a comedy show was Reggie Watts.
No, I always thought there's this old Paul F. Tompkins album where he's making fun of jazz music, and he's like, you know what I hate when you watch jazz music is when all the musicians laugh at like a jazz joke where you think, and what happens is you think they're gonna go wah, and they actually go wow, and then they all laugh. And I was listening to that, and I was like, this is what Reggie Watts does. Like, this is exactly.
Yeah. And look, he's a musical and comedy just genius and a great, nice man, but they were stretching it real thin for a few years with like everything.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the power to come out against Reggie Watts like this, guys. You're gonna need to come out of this episode.
I want a time machine just so they could send it like a fake. I can be a fake Reggie Watts and send in music just to see if they know.
Yeah. That's
a Reggie Watts.
Have you seen the time, like what a guy would do with a time machine versus what a woman would do with a time machine meme that's going on? There's like a meme, and that would be Clark as the guy is just undercutting Reggie Watts, applying to Comedy Bang Bang and shit. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too into comedy politics and stuff, but it's like, you look at stuff like that and you go, all right, well, this is like a small group of people and everyone's kind of making these power grabs and there's this like Illuminati that's sort of running shit, and it changes who it is every once in a while and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it was just the same people passing stuff back and forth, and it's not a good system.
It was
almost like a loop in a way.
Like, they were like, look, we're going to make all comedians super rich for 4 years, but y'all better get it as much as you can get, because after that it's back to Louis C.K.
Right. Well, also
we're disgusted by them now.
Yeah. It's back to making people who hate y'all rich again.
Yeah.
The amount of shit people did in like 2012 in the name of alt comedy. Kristen Shaw has a special where she comes out, does not do anything for like 6 minutes and goes away, and it's on HBO. That's a fucking insult, man. That's so offensive.
I did a music festival. I did a music festival during this year, and I was walking around, and at one stage, Kristen Shaw was doing like an exercise a bit where she was just like kind of wearing like Jane Fonda stuff and just loud music was playing and doing exercise dancey stuff. And I was like, I don't know what the context here is. I guess it's some kind of joke. Has to do with the fact that you're on a loud stage and stand-up's probably not going to work very well. I was going to go check something else out, and then I walked to this other stage, and another comic, what's her face? Name's escaping me. But another comic was doing the exact same thing, and I was like, what the fuck is comedy? It's just jokingly, ironically acting like a commercial from 10 years ago. Like that Tim and Eric thing was just kind of everywhere.
Everything was ironic for like, it still might be. I don't know. And I say all this just because it's funny to me. Whatever bag you got to get, cool, make your money. But it is funny to me to see the irony.
The best one I saw, this was around that time too. There's this guy I would see around who all he would do for his entire set was just go, yeah.
Wait, I've definitely seen that. I'm trying to remember what this is.
Yeah. That was it for like 3 minutes. And the inflection would change sometimes throughout the yeahs. A lot
That's
of
an
people
acting
hated
exercise. They like teach you that if you go to take an acting class.
Sure.
Well, yeah, they'll do the A, B, C, like two people having a conversation, but this was just one guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will say one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen, and hopefully y'all won't say like, oh no, that's hack. But in Canada, there was a guy who did a bit where he was like in a full black leotard, face, head covered, all of that. And he just had like an iPad on his chest. And it was him on stage, but the video was of him doing his set and the body was him doing act outs. you know what I'm talking about? Like, have you ever seen anything like it? Was just like, oh, so-and-so couldn't make it tonight, but he sent a video and on the iPad is him doing his set, sitting down, pretending to be sick, and it's really him on stage. And
that's awesome.
Alt comedy,
it's amazing.
It had some like great points like that. I think it was a movement, and it was kind of reflective of like where people's heads were at about certain things. And it is interesting that it kind of pings pongs back and forth between like, you know, the fucking normie O&A crowd and then that shit being popular. But the thing that they have in common, all these different groups of comedians, is like, you know, we were just talking about this like kind of Illuminati thing and like Reggie Watts getting all these jobs. Is that especially, I guess it especially bugs me with the alt comics because they claim to be kind of fairly liberal or whatever. Is that it's only fucking 20 people because, like, yeah, you said like they only made themselves rich for like 4 years, but they also only made themselves rich. A lot of those people pull the ladders up behind them, and you know maybe you know the way they would explain them like helping other people out is I got my one friend a job. You know, I brought in like one other person or whatever. But there's very few socialist comedians.
Yeah, it's usually your closest person who probably wrote some of those jokes that got you the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and then it's still not even like it's a lot of that, man. When you look at any subsect or any like oppressed or underrepresented group, it's like what happens when you do get in? Do you bring the culture with you, or do you just bring your 2 or 3 of your friends with you? And are you bringing them with you? Are they already destined because they're with this group or this agency? I had to learn a lot about that, and just by watching and seeing like, okay, if certain people like, oh, you got a show, I'll definitely be good. Like, but my biggest break has come from non-comedians.
Yeah,
you know, like. And that's
from
just
God.
Unfortunate, but it is what it is. You said from God?
That's
the funniest person?
Yeah. God is an edgelord. He's the biggest edgelord of us all.
Yeah.
He's so counterculture.
He's a cruel motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, I know you gotta get out of here in a little bit, so I want to ask your thoughts on some political stuff. Well, as long as we're doing what our show's ostensibly supposed to do, let's talk about let's talk about Kamala a little bit. I know that this is kind of old news at this point, but I was thinking about Kamala recently because I've been reading her dad's. So her father was a Marxist professor at Stanford University in like the 70s, and it's kind of funny because he's kind of made some statements in the last year on her primary campaign trail and stuff about how he doesn't appreciate her views on like marijuana and stuff like that. He even called her at one point like an identity politics person, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, he had a lot of smoke for his daughter.
You gotta see her again all the time. So how's that work?
Well, that's the thing is he doesn't see her. There's like one photo of them from the past
the 80s or some shit. Yeah.
But I think there's one with like some family reunion or something. But after there was a divorce settlement, and he hasn't really had much contact with his daughter since then, and he blames that on. It's weird because it's sort of like what we would consider today a men's rights argument, because he blames the state of California for assuming that men can't take care of children, which is ultimately, I think, like a patriarchal idea, and also
we're even
kind
more
of
capable. We have big, strong arms.
Well, and it
Joe
depends,
Biden has huge
it's not
tits to feed his kids with.
I know. Those BATs.
But he also
Big
said
ass
that like he felt that they were stereotyping because he's Jamaican that he wouldn't be able to raise children. So there's maybe some racism there too.
Yo, I hate to talk about privilege amongst oppressed groups, but that is a privilegey ass like family argument. Like, wait, y'all fell out over an essay? Like, is that really like what is everything else so great? It was like, did you read this intellectual compass? It's like, yeah, I hate it. Okay, I'm not coming back to Thanksgiving here again. That's just like, that's so highbrow of a thing to cause a rift in the family. You know
Well, it's like intellectual, but then a lot of the stuff he's saying is kind of distilled down to like, I hate everything you stand for as a public figure, which is a big issue you're gonna have.
No, that's real. That's real. I mean, yeah. No, that's fair. If it's like on a bigger all your ideologies, like every time I say something, my dad was like, no, then yeah, I would probably skip his retirement party.
But imagine if they were taken away from him when she was like 5. And he had since then has had a very limited, communication with her and Maya, her sister. But imagine if he had
Rudolph.
Rudolph.
A bigger hand in teaching her, and I think there's a chance he would have made her Marxist, so she wouldn't have become, a prosecutor. Maybe she would have been like a activist or a city council person, or had totally different politics.
I'm sorry, you got me very stuck on if Maya Rudolph was Kamala's sister. That would be such a fucking racket, because she plays her on TV, and that you shouldn't be allowed to do it like that. The rich get richer.
That is interesting to have someone with your sister's name play you.
Yeah, and her dad's named Donald. That's confusing.
Oh my god!
Maybe that's why she hates him. She's like,
will she be able to stand up against Donald Trump?
And
knowing
Donald
he shares the name?
Yeah, that's maybe his nickname for her will be like my little daughter.
The weirdest fucking angle he could have possibly gone.
They said when they were workshopping or they were like vetting VP candidates, they one of the things they considered is what is the nickname going to be from Trump. That's how little these people have. They're seriously like, we'll get owned if you've got a funny name that he can make fun of. It's fucking embarrassing.
Elizabeth Warren, that's why she didn't get it.
Do you think it's fun to be like a campaign manager right now, like a full-time political operative, just having the dumbest job in human history?
Yeah, I mean, there's no responsibility for anything because it's already set up to be who's going to take the blame if he doesn't win.
Mm.
It's already set up.
Yeah.
So what are the stakes if it's just like, all right, either we win and, get what we want or don't win, we already have set up whose fault it is. So the stakes are very low to be working on these campaigns.
Well, that's why
that reflects in the numbers too.
That's why Roger Stone is like good at that sort of shit. You need somebody who's completely nihilistic and black-pilled and just doesn't give a fuck and sees people as things to move around.
Oh, giving a fuck is where you lose. That's where you start losing, when you start giving a fuck.
That's what happened to Bernie. I hate to say it.
He
You know
gave
what?
too much of a fuck.
I'll say this here on this podcast as a Bernie supporter. I don't think he ran a good campaign.
Yeah.
I don't.
there's no way.
There's a lot of faults I find, not in his being genuine, but he is not a good politician.
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
He's
Okay.
kind of likable because
That's
he's
fair.
not, like, you can tell he's an anti-politician, so we like him, but he's not good at, there's parts of it where you need messaging and shit like that, and, like...
He didn't fail.
And that worked for him up until being the president.
Right.
You know?
See,
Like,
that's what got him in the door as an insurgent, but there were plenty of times when he would be talking and I'd be yelling at my TV like, I can explain this concept better than you are right now, because he's being asked about, like, race and stuff like that, and it's not that difficult to explain how, like, race and class intersect, and class justice is, you know, a baseline upon which racial shit can't happen without it. But he would just go start playing the fucking tape recorder every time and just going like, the top 1% of the blah. You know?
The one top 1% shit. Like, that's just not. And I mean, that goes to a deeper thing of, like, people not feeling like he'll listen. And this is where I get in trouble with people. People don't think I'll change until I understand why I need to. And I think that's why I related to Bernie, because it's just like, oh no, he feels like what he's doing is right, and not naming a damn person. He will come to the right viewpoint, but it has to be on his own timing.
oh, we're both tough cookies.
Yeah, we're just me and Bernie, just both losers who get 10 minutes at most.
We just can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to watch.
Well, that's doing our same 10 minutes over.
We are like, we're at a point where I think a lot of people take issue with the way his campaign was running, but it's not all for the same reason. Like, there's a whole fucking block of, like, post-ironic online people who go immediately for the, like, he was too identity politics. He was too soft.
Yeah, all those speeches he started by going, "Oh, my name is Bernie Sanders. My pronouns are he, him."
He, him.
Kamala's dad is one of those people.
Yeah. And then, but then on the other side, there's, like, all these people are like, he wasn't nice enough to the rest of the Democrats, and it's like, well, I don't think that either. Like, those people are fucking dogs.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is there's nobody with his politics. Very few people. I mean, there's starting to be who are, like, trained in running a national campaign and, like, the finesse and the real politique that you need as a politician to be able to do things like, I don't know, criticize your opponents, like, actually have a consistent message and not be too afraid to say, like, Joe Biden is a liar. And, you know, polling, like, they didn't. And we've seen one of the big, you know, things with DSA in the past few years has been, like, all that shit about messaging, TV ads, and all that stuff the campaign consultants bring in. We can throw that out the window. We don't need that in a local campaign. We just need volunteers. We need to door knock and do it that way. And that definitely works for small campaigns. But if you have a national campaign, you need a more comprehensive messaging strategy. You need to do focus groups. You need to, like, do push polling and stuff. And he thought he didn't need to do that because he was running it like a campaign in Vermont when it's the whole.
We'll just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
this country.
Yeah, I think it's
you're facing an opponent with huge natural titties. Who's going to win at the end of the day?
Yeah.
The G and T of the general national titties of the campaign.
Yeah. The top 1%
It's just too much
of those titties. You know, fill in the bit. There's enough
areola.
Bernie bits out there.
We've had 4 years of an orange. We've had 4 years of an orange fatty. It's time. America had some big natties.
That's Biden you're doing?
Yeah, I didn't put much effort into it.
Neither did he. So
yeah, that's fair.
Clark, I know you got to bounce, man. Thanks for joining us. It was fun kicking it for a little bit. Please plug all your stuff before you get out of here so my listeners know where to find you.
Follow me everywhere at the Clark Jones, THEE, Clark Jones, Classic Black Dude podcast. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, hip happenings, and big ass titties on everything that I do. So come for the titties, stay for the titties.
All right, man. I'll see you around.
All right. Yep.
Come for the titties, stay for the titties.
Anders, did you? So I read some of Donald Harris's like theory stuff. It was kind of interesting. I was kind of having trouble finding information on him, and I actually, oddly enough, found a lot of it compiled on his Key Wiki, which he has one.
Good resource.
I mean, it not like obviously I don't agree with why they compiled information on it, but there's just like a lot of links and stuff there. And so I read a piece of his about, it was a critique of another professor, and the first professor, this guy Tab, had sort of like theorized of the black ghetto in the 1970s or whatever as a colony, like he was using the framework of colonization to explain, this is like a colony, but it's on our own soil. So then Donald Harris comes back around and uses Marxism to kind of explain why that's like an unnecessary argument, and it's just exploitation. It's not, I guess, super exploitation is the word he was kind of using. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. What'd you think?
A mega blast.
Yeah, I just had a chance to skim it, but I was reading some other stuff of his, and it was interesting because, I think his argument there is, just about. I don't think he was like. He just wanted a little more analytical precision there, and to point out that like Black Americans are integrated into on an economic level that's not as separate as a colony would be. And I think part of that comes from, I read more about his background, and he's from Jamaica, and it's an interesting story because he is the son and the grandson of like a small business owner who ran like a dry goods store in Jamaica, and his family like owned land. So I think coming from that perspective, he had like more nuance to obviously Jamaica and the United States, very different places, but Jamaica was, like a post-colonial place at that time. So I think he came to it with more nuance. It was interesting in the piece. It's actually a very touching piece he wrote about family and like his heritage. And he does write about his daughters a little bit too. But what's interesting, it's on JamaicaGlobalOnline.com, and he writes certain lines in the Jamaican patois.
Are you going to do this?
I'm not going to do it. I will point out, though, just saying, it's interesting that he will quote the dialect and write in the dialect, and for cum, he spells it C-U-M.
Really?
That was sort of flummoxed me because it sounds the same either way. So, like, he'll change boy, B-O-Y, to B-W-O-Y. Oh, that makes sense. That's a difference in the pronunciation.
That's phonetic.
Cum sounds the same if it's C-O-M-E or C-U-M. So,
where does your mind's eye go when you read it? Kind of to a sexier place, right?
Yeah.
Kind of puts a whole new Instagram filter on the essay now, doesn't it?
You're
Maybe
right,
that's what he was going
right
for, yeah.
near the beach is where your mind's eye goes, right?
Yeah. No, but he is a great mind still. And one of the most interesting takeaways was he was in his, I think, the decision for the California university system to give him tenure or not, or to like promote him or whatever. One of the considerations against promoting him is that a big part of his career was to debunking like neoclassical economics, like these just sort of doctrines that, wages need to be low or interest rates need to be low and economic growth is good. All this stuff he would really hone in on and point out that's actually bullshit. And because of that, they didn't want him to go to excel too much in the university system because they described him as a possible Pied Piper because he's like a really like charming, charismatic guy who
he's going to take all the kids.
Yeah, he would lead them to Marxism is what they were scared of. And that's why they took his kids away from him, possibly.
That's right.
Yeah.
But But yeah, he advised the Jamaican government a little bit too, and I think they made some improvements. Yeah, he's a really fascinating guy. This essay is very. Oh, his middle name is, that's crazy. It's Donald J. Harris.
Whoa, he's Jamaican Trump.
Oh my God. Trump is Kamala's daddy, just like we worried about. He's going to make a whole political thing out of it.
Many people are saying many. What's the Trump thing? He has like 10 things.
Beautiful boaters.
I've got the finest coconuts. I don't know.
I wish that was a thing Trump said sometimes. That'd be a new angle for him.
I was trying to make it like he's a Jamaican dude, but I don't know. But he's also Trump. It's all mixed together, you know?
You know what? We're going to flesh this one out. We're going to come back to it.
Nah, it's like getting already weird racially.
Oh, do you think so?
I mean,
I think we can. It's not too late for us to pull it off, man.
I don't know. Jamaican is one of
Google
those.
Sheets.
Jamaican is one of those accents that's like it's almost in like the Italian space where it's just cartoony, you know.
Not quite yet. Yeah, I had a Halloween for one year when I was a kid. I had a Rasta wig. That they sold it was like a Rasta hat with dreadlocks, and I was trick or treating, and one of the doors we knocked on, this old guy opened it, and I heard he was Jamaican, and he had a Jamaican accent.
Oh no!
So I just I ripped off the wig and stuffed it in my bag, and he asked me what I was, and I was like, I'm
a fool.
I'm a fool.
I'm a child and a fool. I don't deserve any candy.
But since then, I was like, I shouldn't. That's bad. Now I understand why that's bad.
Well, it's a very 90s thing to do.
Yeah.
I feel there was like a shimmering period in American culture where it was like, wear the sombrero. Go ahead. We're celebrating everyone here. No one will be mad. It's just a sombrero.
Well,
you go trick-or-treating in it.
You should be allowed to wear the sombrero. I did a joke about this once. A long time ago.
Yes.
The government
I am wearing a sombrero now. I just shifted it. There we go.
Yeah, Anders has shifted his hat into a beautiful sombrero. It's grown 2 to 3 times in size.
It's weird that they make fake dreadlocks hats and sell them to kids because dreadlocks have like a meaning in Rastafarianism and stuff like that. But the sombrero's not. It's a big hat. You're just a fucking...
the sombrero's the meaning is the sun is very hot today.
The funny...
and you should use this hat.
Yeah, like...
I never understood it.
It's not... There's no ceremony where like they put the sombrero on you when you turn 13 and you become a man or something like that. It's like, it's not. It's a festive hat. Sometimes they put like rhinestones and shit on them.
Right. I think that... Yeah, I do think the appropriation stuff can go a little too far because the conclusion to it is like, okay, I guess I should only wear shit that's made by and for white people. Like, we need to work out some sanctioned thing where it's like
for us white
is
us.
Okay
for us white us foo-woo. It's just like old English judge wigs.
For whites by whites. Ooh, like the anime people say.
Ooh.
Ooh. One stereotype, though.
Do I look white? Ooh.
Oh man, dude, it'd be so funny to make like FUBU style clothing, but it says ooh on the side of it, and you sell it to basement people.
And this is the kind of stuff we have to do because the shirt industry makes money, folks. This is one way that the economy is still functioning, and that is in funny T-shirts.
Mm. Well, one...
Didn't we buy a T-shirt machine?
Who did?
Didn't we buy a T-shirt machine?
Oh, yes.
Or is it a label machine?
Oh, well, okay, so we don't have a screen printer. I was thinking about getting one of those at one point. And then also... I ordered us a label printer, and when COVID happened, all bicycles in America were sold, and they were out of stock for like months. Still kind of hard to get one like out of the factory or whatever. And those label printers, everyone started selling shit from home. So like those like label printers that you used to print out shit for mailing and stuff and merch and with the scale and all the stamps.com bullshit, they sold out immediately. And it never showed up, so I called the company. I ordered this shit in March, and they were like, the earliest we can have it to you is in December, right? And we like already sold.
What?
Yeah, they have to make them all from scratch because like they sold every label printer on Earth when quarantine happened because everyone's selling shit from home. So like, yeah, I just go to the post office.
The production in our society is fucked up. We have bought that label printer. You should give it to us now.
I canceled
Let
the
us
order.
take control.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
We need Donald Harris to advise us on our microeconomic decisions. One Jamaican stereotype that he does not like and is not fond of is the marijuana smoking. And this came
What about
out
daggering?
after Kamala Harris, after years upon years of being a DA and then an attorney general, throwing people in jail in piss cells with the piss smell and just suffering and wallowing because they had a joint on them in the wrong place at the wrong time. She says now she has a revelation when she starts running for president that she's okay with legalizing marijuana. And on the Breakfast Club, she's like, yeah, it gives people joy. I used to smoke weed. I'm Jamaican. And then her father,
Oh, fucking God.
I think it was one of his friends who runs this website, asked him about it, and he was like, he wanted to disassociate the family from this travesty. It's like a nasty stereotype about Jamaicans that they don't smoke marijuana.
Or that they do smoke marijuana.
They do smoke marijuana, yeah. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's an even nastier rumor people are getting started.
Yeah,
that they don't smoke marijuana.
I would be a little more upset with that. Yeah, although, yeah, I'm more of a creative person these days. But that is the worst rumor. Yeah, back when I was a stoner, my roommates would. One of my roommates didn't like me leaving my pipes and shit around because, like, what if I bring someone over who doesn't love weed? And my response at the time was like that I need 24 hours notice anytime you bring a non-weed lover into this space.
Yeah.
Which I think is the appropriate measure.
That's fair of you.
Yeah. I warn people now that I barely smoke that I'm coming.
Look out. I don't smoke. Look out. I'm doing way harder stuff now.
Yeah. It's not harder. It's the same level of.
I'm Jamaican. I don't love weed, and I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? Spelled in a really specific way.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the DNC at all? Did you guys watch it?
I watched a little bit of it, man. So it's so long. It's just like 4, 5, 6 straight days of nonstop like Tim and Eric level absurdity. I caught clips the first couple days, and then I watched a little bit last night, and I fell asleep because a bunch of bullshit went down. But did you see like the first night Stills from Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young played that song, Stop Everybody Look What's Going Down.
Yeah.
And then
Is that who that was?
Yeah. Except that old boomer guy, just the weird rando old guy who's playing the guitar and singing on the left is Stills. Then there's in front of a green screen, and the green screen it's like American flag, but it's red and blue to symbolize like the unity. And then to the right, there's some actor, some black actor. I can't remember exactly why this person was there, and he was just doing interpretive dance while wearing like a Hamilton costume and a cape. It looked like fucking Adult Swim. Like it was like unreal that this is the fucking the party that's probably gonna win, you know?
But it's so. This is okay. So after 2016, I was very clear in that like I will never watch another one of these conferences again. This is the most embarrassing thing to suffer through, unless like some big political decision I have to see is coming out of it. I will not watch this again. I did see that video of the song, and it was on the first day, and it just blares for everyone watching, every audience member in America. Be like, hello, this is a party for people over the age of 65. We're playing these songs. We have celebrities from 50 years ago. Get amped up. We have Billie Eilish on. She's confused.
Yeah, what the fuck was she doing there? I watched last night a little bit, and they had Julia Louis-Dreyfus do like she hosted
Did
for
she
a
do
little
stand
bit.
up?
No, she did like really, really tense, tight, curt, like Oscars kind of humor. Like she emceed for a little bit, and she was like, Mike Pence is the current vice president. On my show, I also play a vice president, but mine is ultimately less ridiculous. And then it just, that's the punchline. Then it moves somewhere else. Like, it was fucking sucked.
That's at
Bill
least
Clinton's
a joke.
here.
The other thing she did, and this kind of goes back to the alt comedy thing we were talking about earlier, because this was kind of a staple of that, is she kept pronouncing it Ponce, and she's like, I believe it's pronounced Ponce. And there's no like real joke behind that.
The joke was supposed to be so the joke started when she was talking to Andrew Yang, and they were talking about how people can't pronounce Kamala, and so the joke is like them mispronouncing this stupid white name Mike Pence because people mispronounce Kamala, so they're like Mika Pensa. How do you? But then they.
I believe that happened. Has that actually happened? Like, what's the off pronunciation?
Why not
Kamala?
choose a white name that's actually hard to pronounce?
Well, it's because
there's a lot of them.
That's the joke though, is that it's not hard, so it sounds kind of. I think I'm explaining the joke. I mean, it's their fucking joke. I don't have to defend it. But so what? The problem is though, the goddamn thing is like 4 hours long or whatever. So like they set up that joke, and I guess they just kept like doing callbacks to it, but like it's not as though. I mean, you have to watch this shit from beginning to end to sort of catch what they're calling back to. It just melts away after a while.
Ugh, yeah, it was really depressing, especially because that's the For What It's Worth, the Buffalo Springfield song. That's about like Vietnam protests, which was when we had a Democratic president. I'm not sure what the point is.
It's the response of the old left that you stop and look what's going down and then continue to make no changes as to how that went down in the first place.
Yeah.
And those are the people in charge. We're going to take control of America the way we took control of Vietnam. Get amped. Yeah. Start door knocking for Joe.
Well, the thing I kept thinking about throughout the convention was what would have happened if Bernie had gotten enough delegates to clinch the nomination. And I couldn't think of any other conclusion, but they would have just not done it. They would have maybe done 2 or 3 speeches and then done the roll call. Maybe they wouldn't even broadcasted anything. They just would have done it in a closed door situation. But
they still have John Kasich's speech.
Yeah.
It's just him in a field being like, no! Damn it!
Him and Chris Matthews being decapitated.
The dog.
Man, that would have been
they
so
just wouldn't.
funny. And I'd just say if Bernie had won, then what the fuck they would have done for this? You would have just been like this shit where you could tell they hated it. But you're right, they probably would just cancel it. They'd probably say because of COVID or something,
Yeah.
It's really an optional party. They won't throw it if, the insurgent takes over.
Well, the thing is, it's good to have these things if you want to win because it's supposed to fire up your base, right? And that's who watches it, is Democratic Party loyalists. But they made very little effort to actually appeal to those people because especially the first couple nights, it was almost completely aimed at
Republicans,
moderate Republicans. Which
what happens is we get to relive 2016 forever, which we all saw coming and is now just happening beat for beat, and we just get to eat that up for another. What month is it now? I've completely lost track of time. It's August. 3 months of this shit of just them like trying really hard to talk about how Reagan was really good at bringing Americans to the same kind of movie plexes, and then they go to the polls and they're like, I don't know what's happening. The numbers are so close now.
Yeah, we're in like a Russian doll situation for sure. To Andrews, your point, like about this appealing to no one, the ratings on this are like garbage. They're like losing to reality TV and shit. No one's watching this. Probably not a good sign.
Yeah, and nobody who's a swing voter is watching it. It's just people who love the Democrats or people like us who are insane and subject ourselves to this shit.
Maybe they're just trying to make money off of like the hate watches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Like, I'm on this show and I still refuse to watch it. That's how bad this shit is. And this is a redundant point that I think like we've made and everyone's made for the last while, but clearly the function of the Democratic Party is not to beat the Republican Party. It's to keep us out. And they've already done it. So now they can just limp fish their way across whatever happens. Because either way, the outcome does not change for the ruling class.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude. Sorry, I hate to interject here. This just reminded me of something. Right. So there's like a comic who is cool, but comedians are idiots. Like people, no one fucking understands any of this shit. Why would you? You spent your whole time doing comedy, right? Kind of made like an epic tweet the other day that went viral, and it was like, vote for Biden. You're privileged if you don't, or whatever, right? And in the comments, some reply person was like, yeah, we don't negotiate with terrorists, which is like a really weird point to make. They're saying like, why do we have to appeal to the left? We don't negotiate with terrorists. And it's funny because like you gave John Kasich like a headline spot. That's a motherfucking terrorist. That's your enemy. And you're saying, we have to appeal to them or whatever. But then this person got someone right below them. Sorry to just talk about Twitter on the podcast, but someone below them found a picture of that person's mom hanging out with Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, yes. Okay, I did see this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's rare you get like such a picture-perfect burn like that.
It's incredible how many people Ghislaine Maxwell has hung out with. That like you just find
She's
a random
so
Twitter
popular.
person. They should have had her at the convention.
They should have had her.
Sense.
She's like in the background of the Elizabeth Warren thing, like with the BLM blocks or whatever.
I mean, all she needs to do is criticize Trump, do a slay queen against Trump, and then.
And if you want to sway Republicans, who's better at doing that than the person who has a video of them fucking a child?
Who's better at organizing young people than Ghislaine Maxwell?
God, that's the nauseating thing about this, and it is the same as 2016. I thought it might be a little better this time because Biden's a dude, and there was a lot of intense enthusiasm for Clinton, and that because largely because that is historic to have a female president, but Biden that just doesn't exist for him. There's no one who's like foaming at the mouth to see him in the White House. I mean, maybe some with Kamala, but there's so little enthusiasm for him, and for him to win would be unprecedented because it's very difficult to unseat an incumbent. What's that?
I was just commenting.
Incumbent.
The word cum in it. As I was just commenting on that. Do you think Donald Harris calls his daughter Kamala?
Honestly, maybe that's the Jamaican way to say it. I don't know, but sorry, that's right. But there's so little enthusiasm for Biden. So for him to win I just can't think of any historical precedent where this has happened. But there's
the numbers are already dipping. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen them, but like just in the last week, it's not looking great.
Right. But nonetheless, there are all these liberals who are trying to berate us, even people who live in safe states. Our vote literally doesn't matter for not voting for Biden. And they keep invoking the quote unquote marginalized. And it just doesn't matter how many statistics you show them that point out that the more privileged you are, the more likely you are to vote. The less privilege you have, you are less likely to vote.
Yeah.
And they can't comprehend that this huge, construction that we have of quote unquote marginalized people don't all have the same ideas. They're not like an undifferentiated mass of people with the same views and interests. So when you have someone who's like, black, or like a black woman, for instance, saying like, I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden, they just don't have a way to comprehend that. It just doesn't exist to them.
I've been watching.
They're like Nina Turner or Bree Joy. Those are the exceptions. Those are the, as Jason Johnson said, they're from the island of misfit black girls. They don't count as authentically marginalized in their view. They just have these ridiculous ways of rationalizing their like what is ultimately
the fun thing.
They don't
like
actually do anything.
Like you said, when you find someone who doesn't fit your narrative of all non-white people want the Democrats to win, once that's gone, it just becomes out and out racism. Like you said, like, oh, you're from the Black Girl Island.
I've been watching liberals.
The fuck did you just say to me?
Just block black people when they say like, I actually don't want this to be happening. Just fucking block them. It's crazy because it's like out of sight, out of mind or whatever. These people are really in a deranged space, and like I fight with people online all day. It's just how I pass the time, That's what I do instead of computer solitaire. And like I got into this thing the other day with
That's funny. I'm playing computer solitaire right now.
I'm fighting with the guy.
It helps me stay focused. I'm not distracted.
I don't give a shit. Do whatever you got to do. I'm friends on Facebook with the guy who like founded South by Southwest, because in Austin he's just an around town kind of old soul celebrity guy, everyone just knows him. You see Kinky Friedman around and shit like that. There's just people like that around, right? And he's an idiot though. He's an old ass boomer, and like a while back I remember him having a meltdown over the Goya boycott because he basically just went on. He's always been an idiot on Facebook, but he went on Facebook and he was like, all right, like someone explained to me how not buying, like, it's basically fascism if you don't buy these beans. Like, you have to buy things. And so, this is the guy who founded South by Southwest, right? Being in charge of shit and having money does not make you a smart person. People had to explain to him why it's like, you have, like, freedom, like, as a person to not buy beans from a specific company if you don't agree with their politics or whatever. It was fucking crazy, right? So he's an idiot. Then he's been kind of going off on me.
All the Greek plays are about. What is freedom? Am I free to buy beans? Am I free to choose my beans?
If Joe Biden gets elected, we will all be legally mandated to attend South by Southwest. With or
is
without a
life
vaccine.
just a cave with a bean-shaped shadow?
Yeah, this philosopher eating beans. Okay. Anyway, he's one of these liberals, man, and like, it's just raging on like me. Like, I'll just post something about fucking. I'll post something that's basically saying I think you should vote for Joe Biden, but it sucks. And they're like, fuck you. You're the reason he's gonna lose, right? And like, I think what's going on here is that like, if you're like us and you go knock doors for candidates and you're in organizations and stuff and you think about this stuff and you're in all these local races and you're all this bullshit and you think about it, you're active in it, then you know that like that's the work that kind of needs to get done to mount like an insurgent campaign, right? But the thing is, we went up against the system, which is the media and just the huge tectonic plates above us that move everything around that's got nothing to fucking do with us. And those things are what Biden uses to get elected. Like, the die has already been cast. He's sort of like they've made their play, and now we just see whether he beats Trump. And no civic engagement from us is really going to affect that, but it could. The thing is, liberals are very passive, right? So they've never knocked a door or fucking phone banked or anything. So their conception of what our side of the race is that we just also were passively cheerleading and like yelling at people on Facebook, and that's how Bernie got to the point he got, right? So they think, I think that that's the game, and then now it's like, now you do this on our side or whatever, and like it's right there. There's a phone banking Biden program. You could do it if you want. None of these fucking people are doing it because politics, to them it's this theater thing where you just there's the person, the Biden campaign, the outcome, and then like dots in between, and there's just question marks, you know, and there's no engagement. There's no like connection to you and the outcome. That makes you crazy. That makes you into a fucking crazy person where, you know, you feel like you have no control over anything. So you get this idea, which is that it's a cultural shift. You have to literally run around society grabbing every person you know, and if they're the bad person, if they're the thing you're deranged about, you know, which is like, this is like the left's version of like a fucking boogeyman or a scapegoat, is or the liberal left, mind you, then, you know, you fucking freak out on that person. But like, they could be like phone banking and trying to get like people who don't think about any of this shit ever, the people that don't vote, you know, to fucking vote for Biden, and they probably win. It'll never happen though.
There's a reason the people who get very into affecting votes, the vote guy, is the same person as the boycott beans guy generally. And the reason is your entire view of politics and your view of changing and interacting with the world is consumption. Because that's everything we do in our society. And that's, I mean, it's not just about like what beans you buy at the store. It's what TV shows you watch, what kind of, like, do you consume racist media, or do you consume like heroic media? It eventually is all just like, we're all just buying beans.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
all beans from start to the top.
I don't get. So what was his position? Because he's a liberal, but he was against the Goya boycott.
Yeah, I don't understand it. He was just like, you shouldn't, like, he saw something very wrong with people not buying a brand's beans because it's gonna harm their like business, and business is, I guess, like the sacred thing. It's fucking crazy. This is what liberals are at this point.
Buy it from another business. Yeah. You're gonna get beans from somebody who's making money. What the fuck do you think? It's the market.
No, these people
literally capitalism.
But that's what a fucking liberal is at this point. They're far right Republicans. It's fucking insane. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna look up.
The other thing too, this goes back to what we were saying earlier about like what were the issues with Bernie's campaign. That you have to remember that even though, you know, there wasn't a flawless operation on our side, the odds were never good because we were in this set of conditions against the political establishment that owns 95% of the game. So you can like pilot it better, but you probably weren't going to take it either way. And for those 2 weeks where it looked like we were, holy shit, that was crazy.
I mean, and that's the thing that's why I say I think the convention would have been canceled, because if you look at the, not even the delegates, the people appointed to run the convention, they are like health insurance executives. So like, how would that just wouldn't have happened to have all these people organizing a conference for someone who wants to take away their livelihood and abolish the industry they work in. Like, that just wouldn't have happened, you know. But it's I still think it's like would have been a worthwhile confrontation.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I found it. It's fucking weird. You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, this is the guy who founded South by Southwest. Damn me, screw me, shut my mouth. If you believe in economic boycotts, that if you don't like a company's owner's beliefs, you should urge people not to buy the products of that company, then you support blacklisting. That was his angle. If one urges everyone to not buy boycott because its owner likes Trump, then one thinks it was morally justified when the film industry banned the Hollywood 10 from working because of their political beliefs. If you want to ban Mel Gibson from working because it said that he doesn't like Jews, then it's morally okay for Dalton Trumbo to be blacklisted because he was a leftist. Grow the fuck up. Freedom of speech should mean freedom of belief, and if you don't like what someone thinks, you are fine with trying to destroy, and then economically, then you don't support freedom of speech. You don't support freedom of belief. You don't support, you don't believe in the Bill of Rights. That is your right. But when leftists do that, they are giving the right moral permission to do the same. It's fascist. And the right has always been more effective and sustained at shutting up voices they don't like far more than the left. That was about beans.
It's all
sounds
about
like the-
beans, Jake.
This sounds like the cancel culture thing. I mean, this guy, I'm not even for the boycott. No, I don't give a shit, if you buy Goya or not. It doesn't make a difference. But what is your... It's a liberal position to boycott Goya.
Yeah.
He's just a businessman, and he's offended on behalf of business people.
Yeah.
Which legume, Western man?
Well, it's a fundamental, like, this guy just doesn't understand power. Like, not, an individual person boycotting something has very little power. It's not the same as, like, the blacklisting of fucking Hollywood. What do you mean? That was the employer.
Yeah, how is that? Is Congress doing hearings and, like, shutting Goya out of the bean industry? Are they, like purging Goya employees from, American citizenship? Like, none that has nothing to do with McCarthyism.
I don't know. Should we wrap
We've
this
all
up?
learned a valuable lesson today.
We should probably get the fuck out of here. We're getting close to episode length. So, I don't know, anything else before we wrap up?
There's the Pelosi. Well, did we want to talk about the football team more? Because they had that. This is my new beat. Here
What
is
else?
my,
What else do you have?
Anders is our sports columnist.
What else do you have about the football team?
Well, as you were pointing out, there was a headline about their new president.
Yeah,
Of the,
but
I guess.
You hear this?
Football teams have presidents, which is the thing I didn't know. And
Yeah.
so the Washington football team, that's temporarily called that because they're renaming it from the Washington Redskins. There was just an article I thought was funny because it said they've hired a black president, but didn't say his name. So it's like, football team, black president, just all vagaries.
Yeah, it sounded like they hired Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is what comes to mind as an American for black president. But the thing about if you want to be the president of football, you got to have big hands.
True.
See,
Well,
this
Donald
guy.
Trump has small hands.
This guy's name is Jason Wright. He was a football player for a while, and he also, after his NFL career, worked for McKinsey. And he takes sort of he has like Buttigieg like rhetoric. When he's talking about the name, he talks a lot about like, it's not. This is a quote from him.
No one ever thought a small town president could become mayor of a football team and bring a new kind of sports to football.
Yeah, like listen to this is what he's saying about a football team changing its name. It's a culture transformation first to make sure that we have an organization that people want to be a part of and that will expand the value of the franchise and make good things happen. In truth, what we are doing is much more than a new name. It is a new identity, a new way of engaging with the world. It's going to inform the way we embed in the community, the way we engage with the fans. Like, what does any of that mean?
Why is everything
This guy's
like
not
this?
using enough football terms to be the football president. Get him out of there. You can't say it's a Hail Mary with a setup like that. Get the fuck out of this job.
Football guy 101 is you use the metaphor of getting into the end zone for everything. Literally everything. You start a restaurant where it's like touchdown nachos and stuff. It's the only thing. It's the language you speak.
The name of the franchise is the Special Teams. Our defense must be stronger than the offense of racism abroad.
But in terms of the name, so he's talking about this like engaging with the community stuff. And I think what he sort of means by that is they are trying to get feedback from the fans as to what the new name should be. My cards are on the table. I would like it to be the Washington Hogs. That I think is the only name that makes any damn bit of sense, considering that was already the nickname for the offensive line in the 1980s. And hogs are a very football-like animal. It's just perfect. Absolutely
It's a
perfect.
football-like animal.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
a-
They
pigskin, I
nuzzle
get it.
down
The
in there.
football is made of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
I think
It's a
'cause
good point.
Washington, it should be clowns. That'd be funny if there's a football team whose mascot is clowns.
That
Yeah,
would
like
be,
tough clowns.
Yeah.
Like
That-
big ones.
I would be somewhat okay with that. What I don't want is them to choose the Red Wolves, which now
What?
seems to be the leading. It's so stupid. The most
Does
boring
Washington
fucking
have
name.
wolves?
No. There's no wolves. I mean, actually,
Oh,
you
now
know
I'm
what?
getting
There might
pissed
be.
off.
There are deer here. I've seen the Rock Creek Park is huge, and there are deer, and like I saw like a stork yesterday. It's like there's a crazy amount of wildlife here, but I don't believe there are wolves. There might be some in Virginia, but you look up.
I'll tell you this: there's way more clowns than wolves in that town.
I'll
Yes,
tell you
that is
this.
true. The clowns would make sense, but
I'll tell you this: that should be the Washington huge titties, just like mine. My wife, Dr. Jill Biden. We come and we push them together, and we're feeding America, and that's what this campaign's about.
But this Red Wolf idea, it's a boring name. You know, it's like, who cares about a fucking wolf? It's a fox. You know, when you think of it, that's a fox. But I guess there is this species of wolf called the red wolf. It's not even red. If you look it up online, there's like maybe a tint in the fur, but they do not appear to be red.
This
at all.
idea is an abomination from start to finish.
It
I'm with
really
you,
is.
Anders.
It really is.
I hope
And
it
it's
better
an
not be the Red Wolves.
It's an AstroTurf idea. No one actually wants this, but they keep saying another person suggested Red Wolves. No one's suggesting it.
Who did it? Show me who it was. Show me one person.
I don't want to put their names on blast. They've gotten enough heat from me already. But the website to submit an idea, and I'm encouraging, whether or not you are a fan of the Washington football team, go to washingtonjourney.com/submit -idea/ and suggest hogs, please, because
Suggest hog.
They
Post
might-
hog.
There are other ideas. The Rhinos, that's kind of cool. They're football-like. The Metros, interesting. I don't know how I feel about that one.
All your ideas, they have to be football-like? Like
Well, my
It
idea
does
is that
seem
they
like
should be
it
the
paints
Hogs.
you into a corner, Anders.
They don't have to. They have to be the Hogs, is what I'm shooting for, because I think that makes the most sense.
I like
You
it.
gotta believe in yourself. Stop leaving ground for the Rhinos. It's hogs or bust.
There's two.
Yes, I'm saying like there are some things that are more acceptable than others, and Rhinos I would take over Red Wolves any day.
I think I like it when there's like two schools of thought on like naming a band or something. There's like the Strokes, the Hives, the like 1950s era. It's a noun with an S on the end, and then there's like a general like the Darkness or something like that, or like or the dropping the is a very modern thing. So like we could do that, or they could be like an emo band from like the aughts where it's a full fucking sentence or something. That'd be kind of cool. But I think that they should also woke it up. Lincoln football, yeah, football park.
The Lincoln Project, the Washington Lincoln Project.
Yeah, I don't know, the anti-racism, the democracy, like something really stupid that everyone just fucking hate. And they could be a heel team. They could be the identity politics team that everyone would hate and want to beat. You know.
One of the ideas is the Washington Red Tails, which is a reference to the Tuskegee Airmen. But there's already
that also sucks.
Yeah, some people are like, that's just the same thing as
yeah, that is
Redskins. Yeah. I mean, there are some. So it is interesting because I'm a Vikings fan.
The Harriet
first
Tubmans.
and foremost, and the Vikings are actually, it makes sense because there's a large Scandinavian population in Minnesota who's like, hell yeah, that's us up there playing. But that doesn't. That's not the same thing as the Redskins, right? There wasn't like an indigenous group population in DC that was clamoring for like a slur to become, their team. But in Seattle, I will say, I was sort of offended at one of the potential names for the hockey team, which was the Nordiques, which is the stupidest fucking with a Q.
And they say it with a patois like that?
Yeah, the Nordiques.
The Washington
but
Com.
thankfully, but thankfully they chose actually a great name for Seattle. Their NHL team is called the Kraken.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which I think is very cool. Yeah.
Kraken's
so if they
Krakens
lose,
are cool, I guess.
But the problem is
you call them.
Their logo is the Stussy. It's the S that you draw on your homework when you're a kid. That's fucking weird.
I think that's cool. I think that's fun.
I guess that's cool.
But what does it have to do with football, Landers?
That's a hockey team.
Okay.
Seattle is
all right.
Seahawks.
You're the sports correspondent.
Sports correspondent. I think it's great.
I don't know.
I think Kraken is great.
Sports.
If they lose, you can call them the Karens, and if they win, you can call them the Seattle Kratom.
When we break up this show, I want to be the relationship expert. That's my new role.
You are a married man, so that makes sense.
I'm a man of wife and a man of Christ.
I want to do weather.
2 commitments.
I want to do actual.
I'll tell you, there's one storm I can weather, and that's a argument with the love of my life. And I can help you with your storms.
Please help her accept my hat. She hates it.
There is only so much I can do. I've been trying to buy a bucket hat for years, and part of a relationship is saying I won't have a bucket hat, and I'm not a man anymore.
How about a Mr. Bucket hat? You know, it's got a little face on it. He's upside down.
Like Mr. Potato Head, but it's a bucket hat?
No, do you remember that game, Mr. Bucket? There's like a commercial from the 90s.
Oh, yeah!
It's like funny because he keeps going, I'm Mr. Bucket. You put your balls in my mouth, Mr. Bucket. It's like someone did it. Someone did it as they slipped it in there as a joke. Somebody in the 90s.
Even funnier than Don't Wake Daddy.
That was also a pretty
previous
weird one.
king of funny board games.
Let's get the fuck out of here. We're at an hour and a half. That's a podcast.
Agreed.
Lots of jokes in here for you. All right. No boring research. You didn't learn anything today. Hope you enjoyed your slop. You beautiful angels.
I know less than when this started.
I learned a little bit about Kamala's dad. That was pretty cool. Okay. Fucking plugs. Listen to Why You Mad. Listen to this show. Sign up for our Patreon. We have merch for sale. It's all linked and all this stuff. And give us a review on iTunes so that it outweighs the people that organized harass me all the time and try to sink our ratings. I know you're listening, chuds. There are chuds who are like learning Final Cut and shit and listening to entire podcasts of mine to, I don't know, to show them to Big J Okerson or something. And thank you for listening, by the way. But also, if you're not one of them, go ahead and give us a 5-star, 4-star, whatever the fuck it is rating. I don't know. It helps us get more listeners. That's it.
Yeah. Politics starts with you. Leave a positive review. Listen to Ballin' Out Super. I just put out my next radio play on the Ballin' Out Super feed. It's called Police Academia Blue Hero X. If you want to hear me play a variety of cops and do all of the worst anime noises I know how to make, that is now on the Ballin' Out Super feed. Please take a minute to listen. And stay beautiful, you.
Stay beautiful. At Anders Lee here on Twitter, Dursley1 Instagram. You can watch me on Redacted tonight on portable.tv. And please, little electoral plug here, please phone bank for Alex Morse. I actually think this is a big race. It will take out one of the most corrupt incumbents in Congress of either party, and move progressives up the chain in the House. Also, I was feeling conflicted about this because Ed Markey voted for Iraq, so I don't think I could bring myself to phone bank for him. But Pelosi just endorsed Kennedy, so if you want to, show her up, if you want to make her mad and humiliate her, that sounds sort of sexist. If you want
that's like a sexual thing,
not as a sexual thing. If you want to beat the centrist wing of the Democratic Party, please vote and phone bank for Edward Markey in Massachusetts. If you are not an electoral politics person, or you are, and you also want to get involved in direct action in the Washington football team area, on Tuesday, August 25th, residents of Park Morton are being displaced during the pandemic. There's a coalition of groups that is going to be rallying and trying to disrupt the eviction, and that's going to be happening on August 25th at 3:30 on Tuesday, and it's at 615 Morton Street, Northwest, at the Park Morton Resident Council Building. So please come out to that.
Good.
Yeah. Shit, I was going to say something. I forgot it. Not to get too into the Morse stuff and the cancel culture.
The Morse
sinkhole.
code.
But yeah, you should vote for all those people. You should vote for Ed Markey for sure. He's better than he is bad. And Nancy Pelosi's trying to kill him with a stake through his heart. Also, if you're in New York and you are involved in mutual aid and stuff like that at all, I've been working with this group called the Comedy Resistance to raise money for PPE and stuff like that for the homeless and the unhoused. I guess it's the woker way to say it. The homeless, the unhoused. Nope, that doesn't work either. Listen.
Why is that better than homeless?
I don't know. It's we're not
people
that
without
show.
Walls.
People of sidewalk or whatever. I don't know.
The open sky. The tribe of the open sky.
Homeless X. So listen, I'm not going to say this sort of stuff when I do this, but I am going to give out PPE on my bike. I'm going to go around New York to do this. But if you are involved in mutual aid at all and you have like shelters and stuff like that, anywhere I can send this stuff in bulk, hit me up because I have it and I can keep raising money. I can keep bringing stuff like this to town and giving it out. But, if you have a place where this stuff can go that anyone needs it, let me know. I am just a channel of communication. That's all I'm bringing to the table here. All right. I think that's it. Yeah.
It's another one of these. I love you.
I love you.
Remember when we said that last time? That's what we're going to start saying at the end now.
Someone on the Patreon asked us to keep saying I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm Scandinavian, so I don't think I can say that.
Say it.
I feel it. I love you.
Say it to the listener.
It's finished.